Hey everybody, before we begin today's episode, I want to speak briefly on the speaking out movement. It's been making its rounds over the past week. This is, of course, Friday the 26th, though. Uh, so basically, short, short answer, what the speaking out movement is, it's basically individuals within and outside the wrestling community speaking up on encounters they've had with prominent members of the wrestling community that were, well, not quite kosher. There's been allegations running wild, or being brought to light, I should say. Allegations being brought to light of the of sexual abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, and harassment, all towards said prominent members of the wrestling community. Um, and it started last week, I want to say Thursday, with the three big names thrown out being NXT Cruiserweight Champion Jordan Devlin, David Starr, and Matt Riddle. And then it just kind of spiraled there. It got to a point where almost every day you heard somebody new being brought to light. So and there's a whole the whole thing is on Twitter. It's underneath the speaking out hashtag, so go check that out. As far as what will go down for our channel, as far as mentioning it, I will not mention the whole thing or all of the all the figures involved with it, unless it pertains to AEW or WWE, because that's what we cover on this channel. I don't want to draw attention away from the Twitter hashtag, where all those people are bravely stepping up to tell their stories. And I also want to keep my facts down to a minimum. That way I don't, report misinformation or get my information wrong. So, and all these all the fallout towards it will be at the start of the video that the respective person is a part of, like here, which I dub the serious moment. The glasses have come off. I'm not going I'm not going to work. I'm shooting. So yeah, and go ahead and just start off here, because one of the names in question was at the forefront of the whole thing, and that's Matt Riddle, who made his debut on the June 19th edition of Smackdown Live. He was he was brought up Thursday with allegations forming against him. And since then, WWE has released a statement basically saying they're looking into the matter and they will take action when they find sufficient evidence. Matt Riddle, on the other hand, has lawyered up, and he's been on radio silence as of this recording. They have, on the little preview they do for SmackDown, they removed mention of his debut, but when the show aired, he was prominently featured. So we'll see how things shake out. Anyway, like I said, go check out the speaking out hashtag, so you can take in these accounts made by these brave individuals who finally broke their silence. And yeah, on with today's show. Hey everybody, welcome back to an episode of the 3-Count Smackdown edition. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. Let's go ahead and dive on in. Let's go ahead and dive on in. We kicked off the show with the championship coronations. The championship coronation of the new Intercontinental Championship, the phenomenal AJ Styles. Of course, the whole thing was hosted by Renee Young, and AJ basically told the entire male locker room to surround themselves at ringside. Well, basically, it was wasn't much out of Renee Young, because before AJ got his belt put around his waist, he decided to call Daniel Bryan in there, saying he's the only person fit to put this title around my waist. So he basically wanted Daniel Bryan to come in, strap the title around his waist, give him some congratulations of some sort, basically just mock him. And Daniel Bryan comes in, hesitantly puts the belt on AJ's waist, says, congratulations, where nobody can hear him. AJ stops and is like, hey, that wasn't loud enough for the class to hear. Just go on, say it again. And basically, that leads Daniel Bryan to go on a rant, basically saying, you're phenomenal competitor, AJ, and you're now Intercontinental Champion. But now you can be a great Intercontinental Champion. You can submit your legacy by putting that title on the line against phenomenal athletes like Grand Metalik, like Big E, like, I forget who else he said, because I was more distracted by Big E, who had brought a weight and started working out at ringside during this whole thing. It's great. And AJ's like, wow, I can do that, but I ain't handing none of these guys, I ain't giving none of these guys a handout. They're going to have to earn it. Daniel Bryan's like, well, funny you said that, because Drew Gulak pinned you 1, 2, 3 before you became champion, so he should have a championship match. I forget what AJ said, but basically he kind of brushed it off and then just said, anybody in the back, anybody want to step up to me, I'll take them on. I'll take them on right here, right now. Of course, that was met by a bro, as the debuting Matt Riddle made his debut. Matt Riddle came out there, just jiving out there. Gets in the ring. He's just like, AJ Styles, the face that runs the house that AJ Styles built, the champ that runs the camp. Well, I'm gonna be the bro that steals the show. Of course, that leads to AJ and Matt Riddle scrapping for commercial. And before we went to commercial, AJ kept yelling, get a ref out here. Get him out here. Get him out here now. So, we come back from commercial, and the ring announcer is, he's doing introductions. He says, Matt Riddle and all that. Well, no, he says, for the following contest is for the Intercontinental. Before he can finish what he was saying, AJ snatches the microphone. He's like, no, this isn't for the Intercontinental Championship. It's 1-on-1. No match. Anyway, yeah, this was a great match. Matt Riddle hit all the big moves. Of course, AJ Styles is phenomenal. Towards the finish, towards the finish, Matt Riddle was outside, and he was trying to square up to King Corbin, who, the male locker room was still at ringside. It was kind of like a unannounced lumberjack match, but yeah, Matt Riddle was kind of squaring up to King Corbin, setting up things to come. Um, then Matt Riddle tried. Then Matt Riddle got back into the ring. AJ Styles tried to capitalize with a phenomenal forearm, but Matt Riddle hit the Bro Derek for the win. Next we had a Next we had a Jeff Hardy promo where this is supposed to be an allegory for that this whole Sheamus feud is supposed to be an allegory for his drug issues. Next, we had a Shorty G versus Mojo Rawley match. Before we got to that, there was a backstage promo where Shorty G got interviewed, and he was basically going on his short guy shtick, and Mojo Rawley tried to sneak up on him, and Shorty G was just like, well, that's the thing about being a heavyweight. You don't have eyes in the back of your head. Turns around and just clocks Mojo Rawley. And then he just seamlessly goes out to the ring while Mojo Rawley's just kind of there holding his cheek. The match played out, as usual. Shorty G getting all of his stuff in. He's really good. Very underrated. If it wasn't for this damn short gimmick holding him back, looking like he wearing his dad's basketball gear. Honestly. But yeah, he defeats Mojo Rawley with a roll-up. He wins with a roll-up for the millionth time. Next, we had a Miz TV segment where the Miz starts off with explaining his actions, why he pulled John Morrison off the cover at Backlash. And he basically said, well, I was in the heat of the moment, and we were going on the original game plan that, that whoever won, we were going to be co-champions. And then they changed the rules on us, so instinct kicked in. Basically, he explained himself, they apologized, they're all good now. He brought out Mandy Rose. Well, they brought out Mandy Rose, who was the host of, who is the guest of Miz TV, if I can get my words together. And they basically used that opportunity to take shots at Otis. Mandy wasn't having none of that, and she tried to walk away, but Miz and Morrison told her to just chill out, and they wanted to get to the heart of the Mandy Rose Sonya Deville feud. Mandy Rose still wasn't having none of that, decided she was done with all this, and before she could leave the ring, Sonya Deville came out there, all business, as she was wearing a suit. She looked like female John Wick. Very on point. And oh my God, Sonya Deville just cut the best promo. It was impassioned. It hit every emotional beat it needed to, and then some. I hope they do something big with Sonya Deville after this feud, because she is so damn good. They need to do more stuff with her. You got that bar. She goes above and beyond it. That's how good she is. But basically the meat and potatoes of her of her little tirade was she accused Mandy Rose of getting opportunities because of her looks, and she threatened to make her look as ugly as she does on the inside. That led to the two of them scrapping, which they had to be pulled apart. Sonya Deville was was going up the ramp, still, full of passion, full of heart, and she basically had her heart on her sleeve. Well, Mandy Rose was being detained by Miz and Morrison, who had the just cheesiest looking grins on their faces. Well, grin is not quite the word. Basically, just smirks on their face. And then Mandy Rose just proceeded to slap the taste out of the Miz's mouth, and it was a hell of a slap. She really painted that man. Next, we had tag team action as the New Day took on the Lucha House Party with Sasha Banks and Bayley, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, or as Bayley's known these days as Bayley Dos Straps, Bayley Two Straps. I thought they were okay on commentary. I started to get annoyed with it. But basically, they were putting themselves over. Meanwhile, in the ring, the New Day got the victory with, the big ending and the midnight hour. There we go. Because the notes here has big ending / diving DDT, but it's the big ending. Or no, final hour. Midnight hour? Something like that. You guys know what it is. You guys are as smarky as I am. After the match, Cesaro and Nakamura laid out the New Day and basically got into the got in Michael Cole's face and basically said, we have been underutilized, we have been overlooked, we're a bunch of international powerhouses. What we did to the New Day is what we could potentially be doing now, and that's just running rugshot. Next, Sheamus announced that he's going to have a toast to Jeff Hardy, playing into his drinking issues. Cut back to commentary because Sasha Banks and Bayley are still there. Nikki Cross comes absolutely out of nowhere behind the champs, rips Bayley and her chair just straight down to the floor and just starts scrapping with Sasha. Then, of course, Alexa Bliss comes out to separate Nikki Cross from him. Nikki gets in the ring and basically yells at Sasha Banks, give me some action. Of course, Sasha Banks says no, but Bayley just kind of throws her best friend into the fire. We come back from commercial right into that match. Still a fantastic match. Shit. Lost what I was going to say. Anyway, yeah. Sasha Banks got the victory with a Meteora. For the victory, of course, there was some blatant interference from Bayley Dos Straps. So. And finally, the main event. We had a new episode of the Firefly Funhouse where Bray Wyatt talks about everything he's been doing since his loss at Money in the Bank. That's the last time we saw Bray Wyatt. Basically talking about how he learned to knit. He learned how to raise the dead. He also learned how to... he also infiltrated the Order of Lizard People. And of course the rabbit just strolled up. He said, no, man, all you did was just mutter to yourself that you tried to, coerce Braun Strowman back into the family. Which that cut back to how their match at Money in the Bank ended with Bray Wyatt in the ring just saying, I tried. So Bray Wyatt's like, yeah, okay, I did that, but I did learn how to raise the dead. Braun Strowman interrupted it with his stupid train stuff. Um, and basically called Bray Wyatt out on his crap. And Bray's like, yeah, no, see, I learned how to raise the dead, and this story's just getting started. And, boom, because we got the Eater of Worlds Bray Wyatt, the cult leader Bray Wyatt. It wasn't, Firefly Bray Wyatt with all the little fun special effects. No, man. He had the Hawaiian shirt, he had the hat, and he went back to his talking ways, man. He said their story is just beginning. I forget everything he said, but it was still fantastic. And he basically, to surmise what he said, it was he created Braun Strowman, and it's his duty to destroy him. The old Bill Cosby routine of, I brought you into this world and I can take you out. And then he followed off with, follow the buzzards. Run. So yeah, very, very interesting. As of this recording, they are setting up Extreme Rules, and they have just recently added a new tagline to Extreme Rules, which is the horror show. So speculation right now is they only threw that title in because they're planning to do some sort of cinematic match between Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, which I'm all for it. If they can do something as gritty and intense as the Boneyard match, I'm all for it. If they can do something silly and wacky like the Firefly Funhouse match, I'm all for it. But yeah, that's going to do it for this episode of the 3 Count Smackdown edition. Yeah, not much to say. Remember, if you do miss Rod and his opinions, he has podcasts you can check out. Prime Talk with Rodimus Prime on the CastBox app. Go check it out. That being said, I'm War Machine MJ of the 3 Count Mafia, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.